Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to start our program today, and we welcome to all our guests and also the people who are participating in our program. The topic for today's program is mob attacks on Christians and the reactions of Pakistani diaspora. In all the cases of blasphemy, from Shantinagar, Joseph Colony, Korea, Gojra, Jarawala, and many more, we have seen the mob taking laws in their hands. And so many people have been killed on the roads, in the court, and many Christians' properties are destroyed, and people have lost everything. We will be talking today for how long this is going to be continued, what are the factors behind these, and why police and law enforcement agencies allow them to take law in their hands. How to change the mindset. We are witness, and we have seen 2 years back, Sri Lankan national was killed, but Pakistan did not learn the lesson. Unfortunately, we are still standing at the same place where we were standing from the last 25 or 26 years back when the incident of Shantinagar took place. I have a panel of specialist people who know all these incidents very well. And with me is Dr. Noshaba Khiljee, who is a consultant, nephrologist, Conservative Party candidate, and she fought in general election in 2019. From Leighton and Wanstead, and she's from London, England. I have another guest with us, J.J. George. He's an advocate, Supreme Court of Pakistan. He lives in France, life member of Supreme Court Pakistan Bar Association, Pakistan Bar Council, and he's an ex-legal advisor for Human Rights Commission of Pakistan, Balochistan. He's a chief coordinator for Europe, Peace Worldwide, working for the persecuted Christians. My other guest is Shahid Mobeen. He's a professor of philosophy at the Pontifical Urban University in Rome, Italy. He's very well connected with the government of Italy as well as the government of Pakistan. We have a very distinguished guest, Father Rashid Asi, who is very active. We have seen his character, especially in Jarawala, and whenever there is a case of persecution or discrimination, and we saw his interviews, we have seen he's very active. He's the Director for Peace and Justice from Pakistan. And I have another guest, Mr. Philip Hera. He worked as the youth director for 10 years, Director for Justice and Peace in Hyderabad, Pakistan. And now he's serving as interfaith chaplain at Samaritan Hospital in New York. We welcome you to our program, and I would like to start this program with the first question. And this question is for Father Rashid Asi. Father Ji, thank you very much for joining us in the program. Please, could you tell us, and also all our participants and all the people who are watching this program, just tell us, you have seen this situation by yourself, and you know the mob, they have taken the law in their hand, and what is the situation now and how we can control this mob? Father Asi, please. Father Asi, can you please hear my voice?
I think Father Asi has some issue. So could you please ask somebody else?
Okay. Okay. So what I can do, I can go to Dr. Noshaba. Dr. Noshaba, she was, as I told you, she fought an election, so she understands very well the situation. And Dr. Noshaba, if I would ask my first question to you, how do you see the situations of minority, particularly Christians in Pakistan, please?
Well, thank you very much, Brother John Bosco, and thank you very much for all the panel. I actually don't feel that I am a specialist in this, but living in the UK, I've heard all of this as a Pakistani Christian myself. But it doesn't just stem from the situation that happened in Jaranwala on the 16th of August. I remember back in 1997 when my dad, who was politically active, his name was Nazir Alam Khiljee, he was very, very active with Shantinagar. And I remember at the time when the village was burnt and how the Christian churches and the people themselves were victimized, their homes were burnt, and similar situation throughout. Since 1997, we have incurred in many areas, and I feel that the blasphemy law has been part of it since the blasphemy law started back in 1983. From my recollections, minorities, not just Christians, I believe that minorities in Pakistan are persecuted as a result, and in majority of the cases, they can never prove that is actually blasphemy has occurred. And it's usually a personal vendetta for one reason or the other that causes these problems. But what's interesting is when it comes to blasphemy amongst minorities, it appears that the community suffers. So even if one or two people have been named, but as a result, the whole Christian community, they suffer in a particular city. But when it comes to Muslims themselves who have incurred blasphemy, it is an individual. And that's where I think the problem occurs in Pakistan, that as a minority, and I was looking up some statistics. I know that in 2017, the Pakistan Bureau of Statistics stated there were 2.6 million Christians, which accounted for 1.27% of the whole of Pakistan community. Whether this is right or wrong, we know that these statistics are never accurate. However, nonetheless, 2.6 million people still is a lot of people in Pakistan. So what I don't understand is, and again, I hope that the panel members are able to shed a light for someone who is born and brought up in England. It's very difficult for me to understand why there is so much discrepancy. Are people not Pakistanis themselves? Why do we have to discriminate? Because when other communities come to the UK, they're expected to be treated equally. Why does this not happen in Pakistan?
Thank you very much, Dr. Noshaba. Thank you very much. And you rightly answer, when they come here, why they thought that, okay, we will be treated at the same way, but why they're not treated in Pakistan in the same way? Thank you very much. Mr. J.J. George, you are in France from the last many years. You understand the situation of Pakistan. You served there. You worked as a legal advisor to Human Rights Commission of Pakistan. And you also spend your time in the Supreme Court, and you understand the situation there. Could you please tell me that why mob pressurize, why this happened all the time, but unfortunately the government agencies, the police, they are failed to tackle the mob. And that is one of the reasons we have seen in the past, as Dr. Noshaba mentioned, it started from Shantinagar, and we have seen from there till to date, that is continued. Just tell me why the police and the agencies are failed to protect the mob mentality.
Thank you, Mr. John Bosco, and I'm grateful for the minorities concerned who are affording me this opportunity to be with you all. And my greetings to the participants and the viewers of this program. So far, the law is concerned, because now, up till now, since the incident of Shanti Nagar and up till Jaramwala, there are about 40 to 45 years past that we had been facing all these mob attacks on the colonies, on the Christians, on the individuals like Shama and Shazad, a couple. That was also a mob attack on them. But I want to say that what are the reasons behind that? That how these mobs has been created, and who are the founder, and which sources has created these mobs? Because before that, I have started my practice in 1980. And at that time, such practice was not so far. There were many things happening between the Christians and Muslims. There were discrimination, but not to this extent. After 85, when the law of blasphemy was passed, and thereafter it became gradual, increasing everything and on every place. So once I read in 1990, there was a newspaper in Urdu, Jang newspaper. It is recorded in that, and I had the record of that in Pakistan. Now I haven't that is, I lost it there, maybe in my record in Pakistan. And it was written in that newspaper that at that time, there were 33,000 madrasas. And in each madrasa, there were 500 students in each madrasas. Just imagine, it was in 90s. And after 40 years, what they have produced, and what is the population of the students of madrasa which came out from these madrasas. And they are the people who comes in the mob, the mullah, the maulvi, the cleric, religious cleric, when he announced from the mosque, all these things, everything they have forgotten, and they gather. They never think as to who has done this, how it has happened, what is the evidence, but no. And they gather, and they attack on the person or on the people who are being victimized, and who made the accuse of all these things. So these are the things which are in Pakistan, which is happening since long time, and there is no solution, no law, no permanent and factual investigation in that matters. None of them has been. I was in Pakistan at that time when Shanti Nagar's case was there. One or two my very close friends were there from Quetta, and we are very sorry for that when we are hearing all these things. And nobody could trace that who has thrown the pages of Quran on the side of that colony, which has instigated that mob, and they come in thousands and attack the Shantinagar, the first attack. And there was, every attack was in this way, because it is very, very difficult to prove that who has thrown, who has discredited, who has burned, who has disgraced the pages of Quran. Nobody. They throw and they go away. And after that, the nearby colonies and the Christians, they are being, the made accused of all these things. So this is the reason. There is no procedure of investigation. The police is dishonest. The police is not doing their job well. That's why these are happening. And you might have heard that since that time, no one is going to, punished. In the mob, mob is in hundreds and in thousands sometimes, but nobody was punished for that. So these are the reasons that this is not going to stop up till now.
Thank you very much, Mr. George. Thank you very much. With me is Professor Shahid Mobeen. Professor, just tell me that recently, because now we have a media, and when the incident of Jallianwala happened on 16th, so I saw across the world, this news was on the top. And do you think after the incident of Jallianwala, international community is more aware the situation of Christians, and what do you think? What is their reaction and what is their responsibilities?
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for inviting me to present and discuss the argument in English so that also other friends can follow the argumentation. So that's the way also to involve internationally friends. And I must say regarding international community, there are several types of international community. Then the first one would be our Pakistani Christian diaspora, which is very sensible now, seeing that each week almost there are some cases and we are getting together to discuss it and find some solutions. And wherever we are, and at several levels of the societies and state and governments, we interact with the people and tell the truth. So I must say that there is major involvement. The Hungary from European Union was the first country also to start a kind of scholarship for Christians around the world. Then Italy took a second step and sanctioned 10 million euros for Christians in the world. And on the 21st of August, European Union sanctioned other 5 million for research on this argument about Christians in the world where the persecution is. So these are small actions. Money is not enough, but at the same time, it is something. It's the first drop in that direction so that there can be more awareness and more political and institutional action in that sense. I think UK or USA or other countries also need to to have a policy in that direction, because funds are there. And my question in last 8 or 9 years since Pakistan is enjoying a GSP plus status from European Union, that is that they can commerce their products without paying taxes in the European market. So Pakistan earned around 9 billion euros. And not even 1 cent was spent on the development of religious minorities in Pakistan. So at the end, we were able to get this 5 million euros, you see, to study this phenomena of Christian persecution and their problems abroad. Coming back to the two speakers who highlighted a couple of things, and I would like to just say very shortly that, you see, a human being is a complex reality, and wherever as individual or community he or she lives, you see there are several forms: the masses, associations, family, community, and state. So the motivated reality of group of people is association, family, community, in several forms, including state. Whereas also there are group of people who don't have a motivation uniting them. So it's a easily usable kind of group of people. But I don't think these mobs who attacked, for example, 6,000 people in Jallianwala, the 350 houses which were destroyed, 21 churches were also destroyed. And so I think they were a group of people who were motivated through hatred, and they were well organized. I have seen also several videos. There is a religious political extremist group which is well funded, well organized, well protected, which is a kind of ideology for common man in Pakistan to hate others. And along with that, I want to remind, it's not a simply vendetta, as the first speaker was saying. It's also a kind of, you see, action which is well organized against individuals. Motivation might appear like a vendetta, but it's a kind of religious hatred action, you see, to eliminate religious minorities, because Islamic extremism is unable to stand the reality of other religions in a country like Pakistan. Just today, I was watching news, and in the Senate, it was discussed that there was just, you see, a group of Pakistani Muslims who are migrating to Saudi Arabia and to Iraq, to the holy places, to go and beg. Just today, they have arrested 8 people who were traveling, spending a lot of money to go to Saudi Arabia to beg. So that is a kind of poverty which is there. And these people are easily usable. But the people behind are not using, you see, any vendetta, personal vendetta, individual. That is a face of the action. And in 80s, as the first speaker was mentioning, you see, extremist syllabus was invented to create mujahideen to fight Russians in Afghanistan. Now the Taliban and that kind of extremism which is present today in Islamic interpretation of Pakistan actually is a Frankenstein of our society. Education has been used to make this social cancer, and education is also the cure to, you see, to heal the Pakistani society from this kind of extremism. Thank you.
Much, Professor Mobeen. With me is Mr. Philip Hera, who is now a chaplain, but he served as the Director for Peace and Justice and Peace in Pakistan. So he understands very well the situation of Pakistan from the first incident till to date. Unfortunately, these mob attacks, it's not only disturbing the Christians, but it is also disturbing across the Pakistan. And I remember 2 days back when Chief Justice of Pakistan, Qazi Faiz Isa, he pointed out and he loudly speak, and he said, if we could control the mob that time in 2017, the Jarawala incident, we can stop the Jarawala incident. So that means that people are concerned that the government of Pakistan deliberately, or I don't know the reason, but they are failed to control the mob. Mr. Philip, so my question to you, as a citizen of USA, what have to be done for the betterment of Pakistani minority? Did you arrange your meetings with the elected representative of the US government, or what actions so far have been taken? Your mic is, can you please just unmute yourself?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for minority concerns, Mr. Aftab, my brother, and Mr. John Bosco for giving me this opportunity to share the platform with such a well-enlightened star members of the panel today. And I worked long time in Pakistan. I was a Justice and Peace Director of Hyderabad Diocese for 10 years. And Mr. Aftab was Director of Justice and Peace in Multan. So we are well equipped with all these ideologies, how the madrasas are formed, who is funding the madrasas, how every year the lot of new students from these madrasas come out, and there are very few resources to survive in the social society, and they fall prey to all these organized organizations who exploit them. And this suicide killings, this is all funded by well-organized organizations. And sitting in America, after so many years working in Pakistan, and now I'm also member of the Justice and Peace Commission of Albany Diocese in America. And problem is, every crisis and every tragedy, I think this challenges us to look, stop, pause and look what has happened to my people. Because the people in Pakistan are our people. We love them. But situation is so painful when you get all the news from social media. And now social media is another kind of wild place where you can get the right information, right facts of the situation, what happened in Jedawala. So every day there were new stories were added. That, oh no, this was not like this. If that happened like this, the two pastors were there. Or it was two brothers were fighting. So police and other, all the people, they twisted the realities of what has happened. So when we got this news in America, first thing is to get the facts. And if in a Pakistan level, we can have a solid way to get a real facts when something happened. So when I speak to a senator or a congressman, I have to have a real facts. So that is my first challenge here in America. Second is when we got a new, we have wonderful people, well-educated, like Mr. Aaron Bashir. He has stood for the election for a congressman in Philadelphia. And so people are getting educated and standing up as members of this government and play their role. But after that, we had a big demonstration in New York City. I was so pleased to get so many people were there, so many organizations were there. So we demonstrated. Then we went back and we demonstrated in each city. And then we are trying to form groups. I know some good people from Philadelphia, New York, and they are all trying to get aware how can we make a alliance at an American level. So that's our duty. So once we have this alliance, then there are possibilities how we can support the causes of Pakistan. It cannot be done by a Christian minority. It has to be done by the government of America. So our route is to influence the government of America to change the rules, pressurize the government. That may happen. Second, we are also trying to do is, first is, let's create a network in America. That when something happens in Pakistan, that we have real facts and that we can influence. And when we put a petitions to one senator, so in America, there are all the states, you have to reach out to these people at the state level. That's where the whole game starts. So my congressman and my senator, so we have to reach to them, give them the proper facts. But we are a small minority in America. There are so many Muslims. When anything happens in the Muslim world, put Quran, all Muslims from Bangladesh, Pakistan, all over, they come together and they walk on the road. And when we Christians, we are only Pakistani Christian. What about the Christians from other countries? So we have to create another platform. So we did had a successful alliance with the all-white American church, First Baptist Church, and they were able to join us. So once we get the white responsible people joining us, then our strength gets bigger. So my thing is create alliance with all the good people, and that's the only way we can move forward in America to restore the respect of Pakistanis. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hera. And viewers and the people who are watching us live on Facebook, and all our panelists very well answered the question we raised them. And the important thing, the one thing which we realized, and Professor Mobeen and J.J. George Saab, they mentioned about the hatred and how we can control this hatred. I was invited at the parliament this year, sorry, last month on the 11th, and I raised this question to the MPs, and I told them, because there were two MPs, and I told them that I pay the tax to the government, and you are supporting a lot of projects in Pakistan, and especially in the education. I do not want my money will be spent on the hatred materials. So my question, Dr. Noshaba, to you, what steps are required to be taken by the UK government to stop the hatred against the minorities, particularly Christians or the other minorities in Pakistan, so we can control, because the hatred is the cause for all these attacks.
Thank you, Mr. Bosco, for asking me that question. It's a very, very important question. UK, for people who don't know, spends 0.5% of the gross national income on aid. This gives us leverage, and in fact, Pakistan happens to be one of the top 5 countries we give aid to. So this itself should hold leverage for the UK government to question what their money is being spent on. And I'm pleased to learn from Professor Mobeen that and others on this panel that a lot of the hatred came from when madrasas were opened in the 80s. Obviously, I've not lived so long in Pakistan to understand this, but it's very right that if money is being spent in places like this where hatred is being propagated, not only that, I think things are also taken out of our curriculum. It's always surprising for me when I ask people who are born in this country what the Pakistani flag stands for, and in particular the white part of the Pakistani flag. And I can guarantee you that of all the people I've known, not a single person was able to tell me what it meant. And when I tell them it is actually the 15% of the minority community, had they not voted in favour with Quaid-e-Azam to have an independent Pakistan, that would not have existed. So I think these are the basic essence of education. But coming back to your question, I think the government has to have some transparency on where their money is being spent. And similarly, they need to ask Pakistani government, when aid is given to their country, to Pakistan, what is being done with that? So whether it's actually going to the people in need, because I know, speaking to a lot of people, even people from Jaranwala, they said that they weren't receiving aid. So if the money is being directed to Pakistan, why is it that the money is not going to the people it is needed? I think the government also needs to understand that at times that the money is earmarked to go to Pakistan or other countries, but they do not distinguish between minorities or other factions. So for instance, when they draw up their aid budget, they have it, X number of amount is going to Pakistan, but they're not actually accounting for, well, this is for Christians, this is for Hindus, this is for Pakistan, for Muslims. They put it under one bracket because Pakistan, UK is a fair country. It needs to show itself that it is equal to everyone. But when it comes to human rights, the problem happens when human rights convention laws are being not adhered to, like in places like Pakistan and other countries where Christian community in particular is being persecuted. So my question is, again, this is something that I have raised with members of parliament, even our foreign secretary and foreign ministers like Lord Ahmed, who coincidentally happens to be a Pakistani board from the Ahmadi community and completely understands what persecution means, that these questions in particular have been raised by myself. And although the condemnation, people can sit in any country and condemn these acts, My question to them pertinently is, fair enough, you are condemning, but we need action, because actions speak louder than words. And we need to make sure that when money is being given to these countries, especially when religious minorities like the Pakistani Christians are persecuted, that this money goes to rebuild their churches, their homes that are being destroyed, and that shelter is provided to them appropriately.
Thank you very much, Dr. Noshaba. And this is very, very important. And I know very well that you and I, we are in the same group, WhatsApp group. And I remember that you suggested to our group. Thank you very much. It was a very right step which you have taken, and we also followed that. And after that, I remember that Morris John and other people, they also met with Lord Ahmed. Mr. JJ George, because I have the same question to you, because it's a very, very important question. And I know that the Western world, France, Italy, USA, and all these countries, including UK, we support Pakistan in many areas. And education is one of the area the government, they also support Pakistan. Could you please tell us, is your government is providing any assistance in education? If this is right, do you have any evidence that the money is being sent for the education purposes? If that is right, could you please also tell us that it is not going to be spent for the hatred material? So just tell us that what actions the French government has taken. Are they sending the money to Pakistan?
Truly speaking, Mr. Bosco, the French government has very tense relation with government of Pakistan since about 3, 4 years, 5 years. Everybody knows about that. The relation of French government and Pakistan's are absolutely not good. So far, my concern here in France, I have talked to some people. They have paid no attention. I have talked to the people in churches. We have, and they are convinced. But the government, we cannot say it or press or compel to the government to write Pakistan in this regard. And I don't know whether they are paying any amount in this regard or not. Because French, after the incidents of, the Charlie Hebdo, the caricature of Prophet Muhammad, the relation of France is very, 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 very bad, I can say. Because whenever I go to Pakistan with a passport, French passport, believe me, I'm afraid of to showing to the immigration that I am a French. No, to this extent, the hate is going on against France in Pakistan, and everybody knows about that. That the Labbaik, Ya Rasulullah, this party, Labbaik Ya Rasulullah, they have put and on the government. They say that the French ambassador must be removed from the Pakistan. These are the things which are very, or otherwise I have written to the president of the European Union on my behalf. I got the letter which I have written to Madam Roberta Mazzasola. She's the president of European Union Parliament. And in the similar letter, I have written to the newly elected Prime Minister of Italy, Madam Meloni, Giorgia Meloni. So we are doing on our part like this too, because we know that this thing it should be stopped, and it can the foreign countries, the Western countries, America and all that, they can do it. Because once you might have heard or seen that the case of that Kosser or what you Emmanuel Kosser and like this, It was in the European Union, one member of the European Union, he showed the photo of that. And after that, that couple was released after 6 years, in prison. So this can be done if they very seriously take some action by money or by their action. They sometimes they put the clock, they stop they put their name in gray list, or the GSP plus has been stopped or something like that. Such actions can shake the government of Pakistan. Otherwise, no, nobody is paying any heed. Nobody in the government, because these groups and the mobs, the mobs, where the mobs are existing, they are the votes of the political parties. Many parties, they use these people for their elections, and they never say anything to them. They are the vote bank of the political parties. So that's why the government cannot stop it. So these are the things which can be stopped by negotiation here in Europe or in America, that they must influence the government. The same incident, Jadawala, it was not reported since 2 days. All the media, Pakistan media, was shut. Nobody was speaking about that. And when there was a report from America, or somebody has reported something, then they have started this. 2 days, nobody was speaking. No channel, no media. So these are the things which are promoting all these, these things that the mobs are doing.
Thank you, Mr. John. But we are very fortunate. We live in the social media era, and I can tell you, the time this incident took place, and in 30 minutes, so the video were loaded everywhere on Facebook and also on Twitter. And from Twitter, people have sent to the media houses. And I can tell you, we have done the program, myself and Dr. Njili. We showed the statistic, because that was on that day, that news for almost like 2 days, that was on the peak. So I can tell you, because the initiative were taken, although the main media, maybe they don't want to show, but the social media, they showed everywhere. So I will come to Professor Mobeen. Professor Mobeen, the recent incident, what do you think about the Italian government after the recent incident of Jarawala, in which 25 churches burnt, maybe more than that, and several houses destroyed and looted? Do you think that the government of Italy to legally give the refugee status? And I know that the voices are everywhere that these Western country, they should give the refugee status to the Pakistani Christians. What do you say about this? Or did you speak to anyone?
Yeah, after replying to this question, which I would like to have a couple of minutes to give some details, because I had meetings in the Italian Parliament, and I would like to also say a few things about the other speakers who mentioned certain important aspects. Now, on the 28th let's say at 21st of August, after the incident, we were received by Pakistani ambassador, who condemned it, and he said also that with education, which is not simply giving information, it's also training. So we need to create trends in the society so that hatred can be, cured in our society. That is a social element which is there, and he condemned this action. Then, at the same time, together with Pakistani Christians in Italy, we were thinking of organizing a meeting in the Italian Prime Minister House and also in the Parliament. So at the moment, on the 28th of September, we had a meeting. We were received by friend parliamentarians of several political parties, and we presented all the problems which have been now discussed, and we are aware. But in particular, going back to your question, if there is going to be a possibility. So our proposal was that there is existent humanitarian corridor, which is used to help migrate legally. You see people from several countries where is a conflict of war. But at the same time, what is happening that there are certain kind of people who are, and only certain kind of people who are migrating to Europe or to the West, including UK and USA. And I mentioned the need to include persecuted Christians to have the same humanitarian corridor. Now, there are some legal problems about wording it. So I was explained by MPs, and in the live program I cannot enter into the technicalities which have certain which are exposed to certain political abuse. So I have to be very prudent, and in that direction I said the right word would be humanitarian corridors for persecuted Christians. So in that sense, it has to be done with the help of the local government. But it is not only Pakistan, because Christians are the first persecuted religion in the world. Each 5 minutes, a Christian is killed in the world just because of his faith. So, but it has to be also done with the local ecclesiastical or church authorities who recognize officially the individual or community incidents, and who give a recommendation letter of its urgent and important need. But this work has to be done. There is interest from Italy, but it has to be studied. After the study, the law will be made to so that persecuted Christians, including from Pakistan, can migrate to Italy. There is a kind of willingness which is there. Now, this is my reply to your question. As far as our speaker from USA, Hera, mentioned the question of that we are minority in Pakistan and we are minority here. I'm telling you, Janab, our friend, that in several occasions, I was the only one doing certain things, and I don't need always, you see, 200 Pakistani Christians in order to stand with me. It's very much more important who you are going to speak with and what you are going to say. So your number does not matter. So, for example, on the 13th of July, I organized a meeting in the Italian Prime Minister House, and I thought it would be just 5 to 10 people. And I just simply sent a message. And at the end, 90 people came out. You see, so important is that you have clear strategy, clear argument on which you want to work, with whom you are going to speak, and what you are going to say. In that sense, lobbying is very important. You see, it's an art. Your wording is an art.
Thank you, Professor.
So, yeah, but okay, there's no time to enter into dialogue with other speakers about what they have said. So, okay, I will just stop on this point. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. And okay, Mr. Hera, my question to you, because now the people have lost their properties, they have lost their houses, they have lost their businesses. They needed a help from the government. I know there are individual people are helping them, but the most important point here, how US government can help the Pakistani government and the churches. I'm talking about the churches and the people to help the poor and the victimized people of Jarawala. Please unmute yourself.
As you described yourself, that individually, all the Christian communities, all the churches, they collected a lot of money, and many, I was so happy that many of them went back themselves to Jarawala and distribute that money to the direct people. But at a government level, there are communication going on, but I don't see any result. But even a Pakistani community from Philadelphia, the quite number of leaders, they met the ambassador of Pakistan. They are influencing their senator in the Philadelphia. even in New York, whole idea is to talk to these people and influence them. As a professor said, I know that all you need is a motivation and good thing. But problem here is that like a whole Muslim community in America, they are well organized. They pull in from Muslims from all over the world and they make one voice if something happens. So, and for the vote bank, I'm telling you, they deal with the congressman, anybody who stands for election. Half Muslims will go with the Republican, half with Democrat. So they will have benefit for both. They collect money. They give money for the election campaign to the candidates here. So once their member is elected, these Muslims go and influence, get things changed. Like last week, government of Pakistan, Turkey, and Malaysia, they tabled a resolution that the Quran should be respected by everybody all over the world. And I was wondering what about other religious books? No Christian government ever could talk about it. And so there's only in the United Nations, there's a Islamic bloc, but there's no Christian bloc. What happens in Armenia? All the Christians have been bulldozed, killed, bombed. They have to run away, and no Christian country has stood for Armenia. While all the Muslim countries, Turkey, Iran, Azerbaijan, they all attack these Christians. So at an international level, I feel they are very well bulldozing their ideology, while the Christian countries don't have any idea what is going on.
Thank you, Mr. Hera. Now the time comes for us, and one thing we realize that what I understand from our discussion, first of all, the hatred material that has totally changed the mindset of the mob. But one thing we have to realize, the Christian community in Pakistan, they are mostly uneducated. We need to elevate their life. So Dr. Noshaba, my question, this is our last question, and we will conclude our discussion. Just give us your idea. So my question to you, and the same question for all of the panelists, and one by one. But first question to you, what projects are required for the people of Pakistan to elevate their lives?
So there's a saying, I am sure everyone must have heard, that it takes one person to give birth, but it takes a whole village to bring up a child. So we need to have that unity. And as Mr. Philippara said, that there is a lot of coherence between other communities. People can get together. Once something happens, people from the Muslim community all join forces. But at the same time, we need to elevate ourselves, because there are not that many people who are professionals from a Pakistani Christian background. So, I could say I was one of the few who not only studied in the UK, but became a doctor. I'm sure there are many other who are following, and it's a good step, but this is one of the examples. We need to raise our status, because only then are we considered important enough. And this is not the mentality, this is unfortunately, I'd say, the mentality of the Pakistani community. When I go to the High Commission, I get to speak to the ambassador because I'm a candidate. So again, we need to spread our wings. We need to actually take precedence in these things, like politics, like taking the lead in becoming professionals, becoming journalists, so that we can make a name for our community. And I know that we are running out of time, but a simple thing is, as a like-for-like country, I was very interested to see how many politicians there are from a Pakistani Christian background in the Western world, and I can't think of any. And I know there are people who are trying, and I hope one day, by God's grace, that they can enter into this status and actually talk to the Pakistani government, because they will feel that they are at that level. Normally, we get sidelined because they do not feel that we are of their level. So why don't we elevate ourselves to be at that level, to then directly point fingers and say, why are we being persecuted? So Bangladesh, for instance, There are 6 Bangladeshi MPs already sitting in the UK Parliament today and 1 peer. So that itself is showing if Bangladesh, who is a small country, probably smaller than Pakistan, can elevate people in their community to do well, I think that should be an education for us and younger people that we need to strive and make a name for Pakistani Christian communities.
Thank you, Dr. Noshaba. Thank you very much. Very, very well described. And this is exactly what we needed. So my question to you, Mr. George, the same question to you as well. What projects are required for the poor people of Pakistan to elevate their lives?
In my opinion and in my view, I have noticed since about many years, because I had been practicing since, up till Supreme Court, I have been practicing the laws also. I know that the main problem for our Christians in Pakistan, that we have no appropriate system to go in the parliament. We are unrepresented community since about many years. Since more than 20 years, we are unrepresented because our representations are not sitting in the parliament. So far, we have no voice in the parliament, and we have no equal standard, equal stakeholders in the parliament. The members, these members who are sitting in the parliament are not members. We have to have our members sitting in the parliament as an equal stakeholder. And then there can be something, which can come out from the voice of the parliament, and it can affect the lives of the common man and common Christians. The Christians in Pakistan, I may say, they are the most vulnerable, the most downtrodden, marginalized, underprivileged community in the constitutionally and socially. Socially, we are excluded from the society. We are excluded. We are being hated by even the parliamentarian members. They are being called that they are sweepers, they are churas. So this is the social exclusion from the society. We are underprivileged. We have no privilege, underprivileged community. So we are marginalized in the Constitution. I got the copy of Constitution with me. I can tell you that this Constitution, there is a proof that the Christians and the minorities are particularly, they are marginalized community.
And sorry, Mr. JJ, just tell us one thing, because I think it's a good opportunity for me, because you are a champion of law. Just tell us that how many places that discriminate us as an equal citizen in the law.
There are 40 articles in the Constitution, that are for fundamental rights. For our Christians, there are contradictions in the Constitution of Pakistan. Article 20, there is no such time to read out the articles. I have marked that in the Constitution. 25, Article 25 says that every citizen is equal, and they are equality before the eyes of the law. And thereafter, under Section 91, we cannot be a president, we cannot be a prime minister. So these are the contradictions, and these are the marginalization of the Christian community. We are underprivileged under the Constitution. Under the Constitution, we are underprivileged. So if the Constitution, which is the supreme law of the country, so how we can, on how our laymen, how our Christians, all Christians can be benefited from that, as you said. So this is the main problem, that we have no voice in the parliament since long time. Every law is made, every law is made against our benefits, our future. They can say whatever they like, you know. So
Thank
this
you, thank you, Mr. George. Thank you very much. Professor Mobeen, the same question to you, that what projects are required for us to elevate our Christians? We can talk about abroad and also in Pakistan.
Exactly. This is the addition you made in the question, because your question is which projects to elevate our people. So I was about to say it has to be divided in two parts, in Pakistan and abroad. Okay. So in that sense, I think it's the same key, and that is education. And it's around 20 years that I have been helping through some friends. And we have educated around 2,000 youngsters, but only one of them had, you see, a microbiology PhD, and now she is hired by NASA in USA. But anyhow, I will not go into these details. So I would say education, but higher university education is the key for the development and for you see, survival of Christians in Pakistan first, and second, we Pakistani Christian diaspora are hope for our brothers and sisters living in Pakistan, but we are not only hope for our brothers and sisters in faith, but we are also hope for Pakistan itself, because we continue to be Pakistani. So I think development of religious minorities of Pakistan is the development of Pakistan. And along with that, I would just like to say that since we're talking of the books, and Advocate George mentioned the Constitution of Pakistan, this is my latest book, you see, about finite being and infinite being, trying to build bridges metaphysically between West and East. And I studied very well as far as Pakistan is related. I don't want to expose the other contents of the book. Iqbal, his PhD dissertation, and Bulle Shah. I think in that kind of, you see, mental framework, I don't want to use the word ideology. People of goodwill are there at all social levels in Pakistan. We need to interact them so that hatred diminishes, you see, decreases. And at the same time, we, Pakistani Christian diaspora, have the responsibility in USA, in UK, in any other European country or Australia. We need to speak with international diplomacy. International diplomacy means going to ambassadors, not only to the parliaments. That is also, that's a political structure. The executors of the political structure are diplomats. So these two parts for us are important instruments to vehicle a culture of peace, a culture of development for Pakistan and for religious minorities of Pakistan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Mobeen. Mr. Philip Hera, so I have the same question for you, because we are just going to close our meeting. So I just want to know how to elevate our Christian people here and also in Pakistan. What projects are required? Unmute yourself, please.
I agree with the professor. My also priority is education. If try to facilitate people, intelligent Christians from Pakistan, help them to find education abroad, support them wherever we can. That is the main help we can give it to Pakistan. And many people in America, they're suffering because the legal laws are so tough. They come in here and they apply for asylum, and then half family is sitting here for last 5 years, 6 years, and the children and wife is sitting in Pakistan. How can you develop this family? So they are suffering. They can't go back because the papers are in the process. So my thing is, in America, these separated families, I know so many of them in Albany, in New York, Philadelphia, that how can we unite these families? that their families can come from America, Pakistan to here. And I found one good program. It is started for the Liberians, people from Liberia. It was only introduced on April 7, 2020. This says Liberian refugees immigration fairness. This law says any person from Liberia, when they come here and their children or anybody comes here, their visa, their green card and nationality is speeded up. They go in a fast track. So my thing is, if we can get this done for Pakistanis, to talk to the senators, talk to the congressmen. If Liberia can get this privilege, why can't Pakistan get? If we get it, all the people stuck here, they will get their green card, they will get their citizenship, their families will be united. And that will be real progress for all the families from Pakistan here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Philip Hera. Viewers, thank you very much for joining us through the Facebook. And those, I'm also thankful to the participant. What I understand, I can tell you based on my
if I may be allowed just for a second,
yeah.
I'll just be very fast. I'm very happy to meet these friends, but along especially Dr. Noshaba Khiljee. You see, you're not only a professional, you're active in the local politics. So it's a pleasure and honor to have met you. And please encourage our youth to do what you are doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Mobeen. Viewers, thank you very much. Those who participated in the program through Facebook and our participant, the most important thing I can tell you based on my experience, it does not matter whether you are less in minority. The problem with the Pakistani Christians, I'm talking about poverty. Poverty, I was born, I was educated, I was brought up in Karachi. And I can tell you based on my experience, there is a community, Parsi community, you won't find any uneducated person and you won't find any sort of mob attacks and you won't find such sort of any problem with them because they are very well established, they are very well educated, they are business people. We have to look and we have to find out the solution. And the most important thing for us through this platform today, Pakistani Christians, although I'm a British, the other people are, some of them are French and Italian and Americans and British. But the important thing for us, we love Pakistan because we spend our time there. We want this country will progress. We do not want a bad name for them. And we are always work for the betterment of Pakistan. As Dr. Noshaba said earlier, that the white part in the flag that represent minorities, and minorities are working for the Pakistani, although we work here with the government, but we also work for the Pakistan. We always love Pakistan and we want to see the progressive Pakistan. We do not want to see where we find the problems if the minorities are not saved in any country. So that means there is a problem in the country. We have to find the solution. Thank you very much. It goes through it over to you, Mr. Mughal, if you want to say any word.
Thank you very much. Before I finish the program, I must share the next program with you people. If you allow me, just stay with me for a minute. I'm going to share the slide. Yeah, our next program is next Saturday. That is on the issue of early age marriages and media. And we have invited a couple of famous and professional journalists who are coming to speak on this issue. Thank you very much. Let me finish the program now. It is an encouraging sign that whenever some painful incident happens in Pakistan, Christian of Pakistani heritage raise their voice for equal rights and safety of Christians in Pakistan. However, there's still a need to coordinate our actions with clear objectives. It is important that the Christian diaspora should remind the international community that Pakistani Christians want a peaceful life. Their rights, dignity, and honor as an equal Pakistani citizen should be respected. To achieve our goal, we should engage with media, human rights organizations, and policymakers. Whether we present our memorandum or demand to the Pakistani embassy or policymakers or press release to the media, we must present a smart document. We should have a brief intro of the incident, background, the causes, and clear message of demand. We hope together we will keep working for a better Pakistan, where everyone gets equal rights without any discrimination. We are grateful to our viewers who joined us today and also thankful to our speakers. J.J. George Advocate, Dr. Noshaba Khiljee, Professor Shahid Mobeen, Chaplain Hera. I'm sorry Father Khalid Rashid Asi couldn't join us because of some technical issues. I'm grateful to Mr. John Bosco, who moderated the program very effectively. If the program was successful, then the credit goes to John Bosco. At the end, I must say, please look after the people around you. Your one small action can brighten the lives of many. We will see you again with our next program on 7th of October. Thank you for being with us, and God bless you all.